Okay. We are live. We are live now.
Okay, cool. All right. Hello. Hi. I've just been informed that we are now live. We're in the moment. We are right now, and you're watching us, but you might be watching us later, which then it would render all of this sort of stuff I'm saying irrelevant. But at one point, we were filming this live, and now you're watching it in the future, and I hope things are better. So, hi, I'm Michael Folk, and you're watching the Greetings from Queer Mountain Black Artist Showcase and Fundraiser. And we're raising money today towards For The Gworls mission of providing rental assistance and affirmative medical procedures to Black trans folks. If you're in the Zoom, you can go check it out right over there in the group chat. Arvind from the Berkeley Slam just posted it in there. And we're raising money for them. You can make donations directly to For The Gworls, or you can make donations through the Berkeley Slam, through their PayPal. All that information is also posted in the chat. And that information is also going to be posted online. So we've got four great speakers, great artists that are going to be reading and speaking for us today. And just so you know, because sometimes that's a question, each of the artists today are being paid thanks to a generous sort of supply. Why am I saying it this way? Thanks to the Berkeley Slam, each of the artists is getting paid for their time today. So it's not just a fundraiser where they're, giving up their time. We are paying all of our artists today, and we highly recommend that you do that whenever you can for shows because people should get paid for their work. But that said, if you would like to give our artists more money, we think that's great. Their Venmos are also sometimes in their name. They'll post them online in the chat if you want to follow them on Instagram or whatever and send, like, say, hey, I want to send you money. Maybe they'll take it. Cool. And once again, if you're in the Zoom, please keep your microphone muted so that we can hear our speakers and we don't have to hear whatever car alarm goes off outside of your apartment. Trying to get a lot of housekeeping out of the way. Oh, Greetings from Queer Mountain is an LGBTQ plus storytelling and multidisciplinary show. I've run some version of this show in Austin, Texas, in New York, in Oakland. There's also a version of this show running in New Orleans. And the shows are always free, always showcase LGBTQ plus artists. And it's been running for almost 8 years now. So we've been doing this show for a long time in various shapes and forms. If you want to start running your own LGBTQ showcase and you want to use our name, or you want to like join into like a network or something, feel free to reach out to me. I can give advice on how I've started shows like this. It's hard to say at this point because everything's on Zoom now. But if you want my advice, great. And if you're like, fuck you, I don't know who you are, that's also cool. You don't have to reach out to me for advice. I don't know that much. I think that's all the stuff that I really had to say at the beginning. Arvind, is there anything else that you think I'm forgetting to mention?
Right now we're at $325 raised.
Okay,
Yes.
cool. So we're at $325 and we're trying to reach $1,000. There's a show tonight, this one that you're watching now. There's also a show tomorrow that the Berkeley Slam is going to be streaming, and you can check that out and continue donating and also see more great work. I guess that's most of it, I believe. And thank you so much to the folks at Berkeley Slam, Bay Poets Unite, the Rich Oak events, and specifically to Arvind. They do so much work in creating graphics and organizing the fundraising for this show and doing a lot of stuff on the back end. And Arvind is just a really, really amazing, generous person. And thank you so much for all of your time, Arvind. All right, let's do this. We're good? All right. So our first speaker today, I'm super excited to have them on the show. I met them when I was living in New York, and I didn't know anyone really, and I was really nervous, and also I think probably really clingy. So whenever I met someone cool, I was like, "Oh my god, are we like best friends now? Oh my god, you're so cool!" And I'm so excited to have them on the show because I don't get to see them ever really, and they're an amazing comic and writer and just all around badass person. Please follow them on Instagram and send them money, and put your hands together right now for Mila Miles.
Yay! You can. Thank you so much, Michael. I know I didn't know when the next time I was going to be able to do a show with you, and now we have a global pandemic. Thanks for that. So kind of excited about it. Oh, I wanted to ask everyone if it was okay. I already spoke to the host, the moderator. If since I'm going to be doing comedy, if 2 or 3 people would be okay with being unmuted. If you would like to, either let the moderator know in the comments or just raise your hand if you want. It's up to you. But that
Yeah,
would
feel
help.
free to unmute yourself if you want.
Oh yeah, you can unmute yourself. Yeah.
Just be careful because sometimes there's a lot of background noise, and they might not be able to hear you then.
Yeah. Also, I'm sorry for background noise. As you guys know, there's been white flight in New York during coronavirus. Sorry, it tickles me every time, greater than any joke I could ever tell. Never ever thought this would happen in my lifetime. I'm so excited about it. I have such a great house already, and now they're all leaving. I can't tell you U-Hauls I see every time I take a masked bike ride. This is not a joke. This is my reality now. That's what's so great about it. And now 2 Black men are moving upstairs who seem like pretty chill. I think one of them's bi. You know what I mean? I'm very excited. Yeah, white people are gone, and so there's a lot of noise in the background, them stumping up and down and using movers and stuff. So I apologize for that. No, I won't be surprising you with a Hamilton-esque like freestyle or anything like that. I'm glad I won't be hearing any more of those for a while, bitch. Like, what? Do you know how many queer theater nerds there are that are also comedians? I cannot tell you how many times I've been trapped in an upstate car ride listening to the entire Hamilton soundtrack. I want to shoot myself. Truly though, it's like depreciated the value of theater for me personally. I know it's great, it's good or whatever, but it's very hard for me to like, unless it's a gun-toting like slave, it's very hard for me, and even then, to like romanticize that period in time. So I'm so excited to see all these Jefferson statues get ripped down. I'm just here to tell you guys news, really, no jokes. But it's all funny to me. If you guys would have caught any of my sets last year, I feel like I'm prophetic, and I'm pretty sure I predicted this, but it sounded like a joke. I was going through it the first week or 2 because I was like looking at my bug out bag, and yes, I have a bug out bag. And I was like, is this the moment where I'm supposed to take myself seriously? You know, I was like, am I really supposed to be fleeing New York? I'm happy I'm one of the ones that stayed. I have to tell you guys the truth. I left town for a little bit, somewhere tropical, quarantine privately for like 2 weeks. And I have to tell you, we look like fucking dumb bitches in the States right now. Where I was, you wouldn't expect. I was getting my feet sprayed with antibacterial, my hands, no matter where I walked. It was amazing. I mean, like, I'd never thought that I would like enjoy feeling like I was in Big Brother, you know? Like the real Big Brother though, not the 1984 Big Brother. I reached. I don't look, bitch. Like, come on. I have to tell you guys something. I'm a little tipsy, right? I'm so sorry. I actually usually, when the world is normal, I usually don't drink. But now that I'm in the house, I realize I just don't like to drink with other people. I don't have a bar, but there's this one, I'm just gonna plug them real quick. There's this one bar in Brooklyn called Ode to Babel. It's an amazing Black-owned bar by Black women, mostly ran by Black women, mostly staffed by Black women, not entirely. And they've been surviving. It's been great to see how so many businesses have been thriving, especially Black businesses during this time. So they deliver cocktails with the freaking garnish. but I'd be forgetting how strong they are. I'd be like, oh, this is really cute and sweet. And then I'd be fucked up 2 sips in. So my apologies. But I know, like, I feel like comedians and maybe even storytellers like you guys, like, it's kind of hard to like not talk about where we're at right now, in the world. But I have to say, there's one person I think about like probably too often. And I'm just like, kudos, bitch. Lana Del Rey lucked the fuck out, did she not? I don't know if anybody remembers this, but before the world erupted for Black liberation, Lana Del Rey was saying stupid shit about feminism and being a white feminist or some shit on the internet. And that has been, that was phased out. So that week I had a show and I was like, I'm going to joke about this. And I was like, literally that joke went from this part of my set to that part of my set. I was like, there's nothing. I mean, like, I just feel like right now, if you have some stupid shit to say and some really great ideas, like, right before the end of May was the time to express them. Everything has been almost wiped clean for so many people, but I haven't forgotten. I'm not forgetting though. I'm still looking for opportunities to attack people on Twitter. What else? In week 3, this is a true story, guys. So, okay, I didn't tell you the full truth. Yes, people are moving in, and yes, my house is staying Black and queer, but I am leaving this bitch. I'm exhausted. I've been here 5 years. I've been basically an RA in this house for the longest. I'm out. Everybody's nice, but I'm just ready to go. And I say that because I'm leaving, and today I was moving, and I was reminded of something that happened to me 3 weeks ago. And my vibrator shorted out on me on week 3, actually, of quarantine. And that's when we were really settling into this new normal. And some people were like, don't order from Amazon. And I really, really had to do some soul searching because I needed to do some soul searching. You feel me? Like, I needed to do my form of prayer, and my vibrator shorted out on me. And I really kept trying to figure out what the short was inside my vibrator and like hold it at the right angle. And then after I gave up on it, the next generation of that vibrator sat in my cart for 3 weeks until I actually ordered it. But, now I'm clear-headed and decided that I should move. So, I pulled through, basically. I know, it's weird though. Okay, so I've been finding out about a lot of people who are still doing like Tinder dates and like are going on quarantine dates or something. Like, everybody's just doing regular life, but like throwing a mask on their chin and pretending like they're doing their part. And I have to say that I did during quarantine, I was really thinking about if I should have me a clit appointment, right? I know, because like no dick for me. Clit appointment, clitoris. I know that you guys aren't used to that word. I want to get it out there a little bit more. But I thought about it a few times, and then I was like, I mean, like I'm fluid sometimes. I'm queer. Like, I fuck dudes a few times, but like then I want them to leave, and that doesn't really work for like treating people the way you want to be treated. So I had a few moments where I was weak, and I was like, damn, maybe I should dive into my like dick appointment folder on my phone. And then I started to really realize like what kind of predator I was when it comes to men, because I prefer ugly and insecure dudes. I do, because they're grateful and they know their place and they'll leave me alone when I tell them to. And they really like to feed you, which is really weird. That's why so many people out here getting thick. They're getting dick down and fed, honestly. But I don't know. I decided like ugly and insecure dudes, like they don't feel entitled to me. They're just grateful that my queer ass is giving them the time of day. And then I realized like, that's kind of mean. Like, I should leave them alone to like the straight girls that are suffering right now. 'Cause the ghetto, really, honestly, I'm so sorry. I don't mean to attack any straight allies that are on this call, but I really am starting to feel for y'all. Like, I truly am. I really don't know what else to say about that. I keep getting like rude awakenings every time I like hear a story from one of my friends, or like I assume someone is queer and then I find out they're straight and they even give me that look of like regret. I I feel so bad. I feel bad for queer people who are in cis het relationships too. I'm so sorry for y'all. It's hard though. It's hard. Like you want somebody that's different than you, and then you decide that, you know, I guess that's not gonna work out. I don't know, guys. I'm a little tipsy. What else? Oh, I guess you guys didn't expect me like to talk about dick so much. But like I have like 3 of them, so it's something that's hard for me to not talk about. Like dudes can't stop talking about them and they have 1. Imagine if you had 3 and 2 that were barely being put to use, right? Because one size does not fit all. It doesn't. And you don't find that out until you get there. That's why you see so many like queer and lesbian couples at the shop together. It's not because it's like, this is so romantic. We have to romanticize the experience of trying to figure out where we, you know, have some middle ground. And I've gone out on a limb a few times and thought somebody was down for something that they weren't, which is why I have 2 brand new dicks in my closet. And it sucks, right? Like, this is something we don't talk about a lot. And, you know, sometimes it makes me embarrassed to be a queer person because, you know, I do feel like as queer people, we contribute at least 8 to 18% of like landfills, right? Like, how long do you use the same sex toys? Like your next part, like, okay, everybody in here is queer. That's cute. But I have to tell you, all of you people who, you know, have other body parts that I do not have. In the world of especially AFAB people, assigned female at birth people who are queer, sex is extremely expensive. It costs me, if I'm being cheap, it costs me $200 to get to know somebody a little bit better. You feel me? Like the strap and the piece, $100 each. And that's if you're getting like the shit that's like marked down. You feel me? And I feel kind of guilty because I feel like as queer people, we contribute so much to like carbon emissions as well as like landfills. And I feel like we have so much community amongst us, but there's so many queer kids who are like missing the kind of mentorship that a lot of us didn't have when we made these mistakes. So I have a proposal, okay? I feel like we should have like a community boil-in, right? All of us should get together. I mean, queer people love soup night, right? I've seen a lot of soup nights take place when the world was in a different order. So I feel like we should have like a soup night plus a dick boil, like a boil-in, and that way we can do a dick swap and then pair ourselves up with someone to mentor. Because also, when you buy these sex toys, you have to break them in. You feel me? Like you have to. Do you understand that before I even fuck somebody with a strap on, I have to stand in front of my mirror, make sure it looks good, you know what I'm saying? And then bring that bitch in. Like I feel like I could have used a mentor for that. You know what I mean? To tell me what to do. Most fencers fucking going around just wielding a knife by themselves. They have mentors. I had to think that up because, you know, during quarantine, only today is everybody out of my house. I have not been able to find the right time to boil my dicks for so long because everybody's been in the house all day, every day. Can you imagine coming downstairs and your roommate has a pot full of dicks and butt plugs? This is never going to go over well. I was going to have to move out of here anyways. That's all I got for y'all today. Thank you, Michael. Thank you for the girls. I hope we raise a lot of money.
Thank you so much, Mila. Yeah, you know, a lot to chew on, a lot to think about. We got to get some of those like UV cleaning things where you just like kind of load things in like a wine fridge, but they're just like dildos and strap-ons. You just kind of slide them in and then the like light cleans them, you know. Got to get those for folks. Got to raise some money for that.
The ones at the nail shop.
Right. Yeah. And yeah, it just sort of hit them with that good cleansing UV light. Yeah. Dishwasher for dildos. Mila Miles, thank you so much. Their Venmo is, I believe, attached to their name right there at Mila Miles. Also, we are still running raising money for the girls. Please, if you look in the chat up there, you can make donations to the Venmo at Rich Oak Slam, Cash App, $ Berkeley Slam, PayPal, Berkeley Slam. We're trying to raise $1,000 in the next 2 days. We are at $395. So we are almost halfway there. Please keep giving donations and letting folks know about the great work that For The Gworls is doing. They are raising money for rent assistance and affirmative medical procedures for trans folks, which is a really important cause. And I want to, oh, whoa, we just hit, we're at $495. So we are almost halfway there. $5 more puts us at the halfway point. $515. All right, so we have just crossed over halfway. That's right. That's amazing. $520. Here we oh look at y'all. Look at y'all coming out. I think it's really, really important that we remember these sort of things. I've been listening and paying attention, and I think it's really important to move away from thinking of these things as donations and actually thinking about giving money to these organizations as a redistribution of funds. And this is part of our responsibility. Whenever we give money to these organizations, it's not us being nice. It's us doing something that we should be doing and on a regular basis. If you have like a Netflix account, if you have a Hulu account, if you have a subscription box that brings you like couture succulents every month, you can also have a monthly donation to a cause. If you have all those things, you can afford to also have $5 a month going to one of these organizations or something like that. So that's been helpful for me to stop thinking donations. I feel like that's a huge thing where it's sort of like, oh, donations, charity, blah, blah. It's not charity. It's about equity. And I think it's helpful to reposition that in your brain, arrange it, collate it. So our next speaker coming up, we've got 3 more speakers. Super, super excited to have our next speaker. Travis Tate is a queer Black playwright, poet, and performer from Austin, Texas, where I met them. Spent a lot of time talking on a porch in the rain. It was a very stormy summer. It was all very nice. Their debut poetry collection, Maiden, is available on VA Press, and I have a copy of it, and I should have it right here. So pretend that a copy of Maiden is in my hand right now. Please order Maiden. It's an amazing collection of poetry. Sam's going to grab it right now. I just saw them run to go grab it. This is Travis's. Oh, wait. He's behind me. Oh, here we go. So get yourself a copy of Travis Tate's debut poetry collection. They have written some amazing poems. They're a great playwright. And they're just the sweetest cherry on the largest pie. Please put your hands together right now for Travis Tate.
Hello. Hi. Thank you, Michael, for asking me to do this. That's lovely. I actually just moved to New York from Austin. I'm in Brooklyn, so everyone's moving, and I moved here in February, so fun. But today I'll read some poems from the book Maiden that Michael mentioned, which is right here. The cover is matte. It's very pretty. But yeah, here we go. First letter to David. David, some people have bad tattoos below the ankle, round of the cheek. Something about permanence. The body must be reckoned with. Sharp shoulders. At 18, I told you this. I got my first tattoo. Snake with skull. Villain from my favorite childhood book. Scars, David, are small reminders, like the wrist is for the arm and the hand. I want to be something I'm not sure I will become. There is a way to write the future. Scent of uncombed hair, that lavender. Stars are aligning, David. In the distance, fog, and the belly of a mountain. That's one poem. This poem is called First Love. Guess what it's about? First love. The night contains a light, fissure, atomic. I only know that's true because of the drinking. That's what it's doing, quelling the insufficient. No one is asking me to bear the weight of the sun, a picture like some Greek myth. I wanted your light, untamable Texas sun. Even when behind a night curtain, it tills the skin, makes you desirable. Even when I take the time to dream up a new love, new boyfriends, cute and sweet, charming. The night fissures, fusion of our pierced nipples. When I was in high school, I said, you can love someone you don't even know, and the sky is above us all. That's another one. This poem is called Michelangelo. It's seemingly beautiful, the curved hand made of stone, the 3 dots before you respond to my clever joke. Sometimes beauty is wanting what other people have. I understand that jealousy is greenish, but envy is pink. The skin between David's thumb and pointer finger, the broken clock on the wall. I'm watching people leave, some for good and some for a time. My heart aches the same, my body reshuffles itself. In 1991, a deranged man hit David on the foot with a hammer, changing the marble. Maybe he was trying to reform what we think of the modern ideal man, or maybe he was aware that everything must and will change. I'll be unkind to myself if I watch your shadows. I want change. I've been craving it, but for some reason or other, I can't make myself do it. I should at least dip my toe in, or should I wait until I can jump in full body wet? I'm so confused. One day, I will be David, beat Goliath. What makes beauty? Is it longing or you bathed in light? That's another poem. So a lot of these poems are about taking images from the Bible. And so there's these kind of fake love letters to David from the Bible that I'm writing, who may or may not, some biblical scholars believe, that had a homoerotic relationship with somebody named Jonathan in the Bible. So that's where I was like, ooh, I love Bible stuff and gay stuff. So just mix it together. Great. This is called On Wanting to Be Loved. Moments before I arrived here to you, I was sleeping on my back, face to the ceiling of my crooked apartment. Your eyes have this thing. I'm not sure what it is. It looks like you may be wearing eyeliner. I go again, falling in love with anyone I meet. It's curious. I played this game earlier this week. It's called Imaginary Boyfriend, and I'm quite good at it. First, you think of the name of a pretend boyfriend. It has to be a good name, a name you want to look at when the light is creeping across his face, moon or sun or glow of a camera. Then you make up scenarios where it would be hard to love him, but in the end you decide to love him. This conversation is always to a friend. After this, you must imagine his greeting, his usual one for you. When that feeling right above the pelvis hits, he meets your friends. What does he say? All good things, all the right things. You dream up 2 kids, Papa, Baba, Dad, Pause, all the names they'll call to you when you're no doubt sleeping. He dies before you do, and you mourn him. You think of heaven for the first time in 35 years. And this is the last poem. It's called Psalms, like the Bible. Okay, Psalms. 1. In my present state, the door to the room cracked, the light spilling in. Many years past, I'm thinking of your face. the bloom of daffodils that is your ears. You have left us and now are breathing heaven. 2, remember, David, remember our song you played in Bethlehem. Play that song again, we both remember. David, you are to beat Goliath. It is written, in a field swollen with green, I'm your maiden. 3, I'm damaged. David, there will be nothing but the scent, the ambrosia. God is healthy. Just like you, David, your clear brown skin in the desert light. They never told our story. 4, the last time when I took you to a cliff, your hands claimed some rocks. This is what you taught me. Though you were unaware, hold on to something hard and real. You are not aware of your hands. You never were. Where are you now? Where are your hands now? Are you holding on to the light, David? Like the light that fills this hollow room? I'm cursed to the touch of you. In the shower, along the dry sidewalk to work, you unbutton me every chance that you get, and I like it, David. The small bump of your knuckles against my chest. 5, the spray of water near the sea, David. You loved me against the wet sand. 6, I don't like men anymore. Thank God, David. Thank you for foreshadowing some greater man. Your headstone now resting in Jerusalem. David, don't you remember your nails down my back? Or my heart skipping a beat when you'd look at me like I had purposely broken the glass? I won't be in here forever, David. Soon, I'll say, thy love to me was wonderful. Thank you. That's all. Thanks, everyone.
Thank you so much, Travis. Thank you so much for being here. So order a copy of Maiden by Travis Tate. You can see it right here. The cover is very matte. It's very matte, very right now. Matte's very in. I'm excited for someone to get the art tattooed on them. I feel like it sort of asks for that. Travis, who's the artist? It's very gorgeous. Sorry, I put you on the spot. Oh wait, I think you're still muted.
Are you asking me right now? It's Jasmine Choi. Oh wait.
Yes.
It's Jasmine Choi.
Okay.
They
cool.
are on. Yeah.
Wonderful.
Wait,
Thank you. Yeah, we could hear you.
Oh, okay. Bye.
So order a copy of this, and it's a really, really great book. Order it for your friends that are really into the Bible, and you can get it for someone and be like, yo, I know you really like the Bible. Here's a book of gay poems about the Bible. And I think it's a great companion. You can get it and get a couple copies and put it in hotel rooms along with the Gideon Bible, and it'll be a nice counterpoint to be in that drawer. The Gideon Travis Tate's Maiden. All right, cool. So our next speaker, once again, I got to do this every time. We are raising money for the Gworls. And in the chat up here, you can donate to the PayPal at Berkeley Slam. You can do Cash App $ Berkeley Slam, Venmo at Rich Oak Slam. We are at $520 right now. We're trying to hit $1,000 over the next 2 days. So keep those donations going. Also, come back around to the internet tomorrow and watch the Berkeley Slam. And you can keep donating then and see more great Black artists. It's going to be great. Our next speaker coming to the digital mic in their own home is Tiana Bratcher. Tiana is a queer Black woman, sister, and auntie originally from Anchorage, Alaska, now residing in Oakland, California. The 2016 winner of Best Love Poem at the Collegiate Union's Poetry Slam Invitational, placed 5th at the National Poetry Slam 2017, and placed 7th in the world at the Women of the World Poetry Slam 2020. She has been published in the Shade Journal and is a 2018-2019 fellow at the Watering Hole and a 2017 Queer Emerging Artist resident at Destiny Arts. Her work centers on reclamation of the body, Black girl womanhood, healing through generational trauma, and shaking ass. Tiana is a twerk influencer, Steven Universe lover, and spends much of her free time admiring trees. Please put your hands together right now for Tiana.
Hi. Is my sound okay?
Yes, it is.
Perfect. Y'all tell me if it's not. Yesterday I was on a Zoom call and they were making fun of me talking about like I had Nelly Wi-Fi, and hurt my feelings a little bit. But if y'all can't hear me, let me know. Cool. So I'm gonna read some poems. First, I wanna share a story. None of my poems are gonna be funny, so I thought maybe I'd share a funny story to kick it off. And it's about poop. So fair warning. But when I was at the Women of the World Poetry Slam, so I've been slamming since and slamming and performing probably since 2013, and I never I would get nervous, but I never had to nervous poop up until this year in 2020. And I would be like, what does that even mean? Like, how does that happen? Like, how does your body do that? Like, what's going on? And on final stage was happening for WILPs, and I was back there. I was like, oh, I have to go to the bathroom. And there was these young kids opening final stage. They were doing a dance performance, and they were back in the dressing rooms with us, and then getting ready, practicing or whatever. And when I'm in the bathroom, 3 of them come in to change their clothes. So I'm like, oh, I'm trapped. And then one of them starts banging on the door of the stall that I'm in and is like, who's in here? Who's in here? And I was silent. I was like, I can't tell nobody it's me. I don't even know these kids, but I can't tell them it's me. And then you just hear one of them talk about how it smells in the bathroom. And I was so embarrassed, y'all. And I'm sitting there and I'm just I was like, dang, now I have to absolutely wait until every child leaves this bathroom because I have never been so embarrassed in my life. With all of that being said, I was really nervous prior to coming on here tonight, and had to excuse myself to use the bathroom. And now I feel better and I feel good to deliver. So here we are. So wanting to move in transparency. I feel great. I hope y'all feel great. I'm gonna read my poems now, which are a little less embarrassing. And I will also give just a general trigger warning for my work. A lot of my work does deal with violence against women. So putting that out there. This first poem is titled "A List of People Who Did Not Kill Me." And it starts with a quote. We are all only here today, not because what does not kill us makes us stronger, but because what does not kill us does not kill us. Sam Sachs. 1, I am alive because a man chose not to kill me. Or I am alive because his friends chose not to let him. Anyhow, somewhere I am the joke in the smoke session, or the car on the way to the function, or at the pickup game. A, you remember when you kicked that bitch in the face? Knocked her ass out? Dumb hoe thought she could say no? Their laughs unlatched coffins. My unconscious body summoned by their banter rolls out again underneath their feet. 2, I am alive because a man chose not to kill my mother, or because my mother hit back. Anyhow, my father says I was made out of love. I know my anger to be birthed from his knuckles, body birthed through split lip and blue bruise, our blood always squaring up with my veins, trying to extinguish all the breath in my lungs. 3, I am alive because I put the razor blade down, or because my ex finally showed up for me. Anyhow, everyone says I'm happy you're here. For months, I wake up in rage, asking the earth and sun to clock out, surrender even, ask the stars to wheel me into a black hole, even ask God to adopt me. Some days, when a knife glistens too bright, I still search for his signature. 4, I am alive because my mother did not pray hard enough, or because God doesn't believe in us anyhow. All right, that was my first poem. I also didn't check the time when I started, so I'm trusting somebody to tap in when it's my time to get off the mic. So I've been writing a lot about like inheritance and lineage and you know, as Michael read my bio, you know, doing a lot of like work around intergenerational trauma. And so this piece has been in draft form for a couple of years now, but I'm gonna read it. And it doesn't really have a title still. My life begins with bruises. Every man I have loved has broken the skin of a woman's cheek. My father and his father and my mother's father and his father and his father. I sing their names as gospel until I don't anymore. Until I see my birthmarks as bruises that could never be rubbed. Sorry, hold on. I'm gonna start over. You know when you're in the Google Docs and you're reading the wrong version. We'll rewind. My life begins with bruises. Every man I have loved has broken the skin of a woman's cheek. My father and my mother's father, my grandfather and his father. My love for them takes the shape of ignorance as I sing their names as gospel, until I don't anymore, until I see my birthmarks resemble the family heirlooms, my body a reminder of every knuckle and palm that brought me here, my body a blessing, a trophy. Look, mama, we made it. We went through all that, and still we all chose to let me breathe. My life begins at the burst of a womb that belongs to a woman who did not send for me. I recognize her as my mother, or grandmother, or great-grandmother. I bore out of all of them, begging to be nothing like them. And yet I am everything like my mother. My freckles stain the same coordinates on my nose. I see a mirror and she takes up all the space where my face is supposed to be. My stubborn tongue just as unshakable as hers. My anger just as explosive. My passion just as drowning. I love just like her until I don't. My father says I was born out of love. My life does not begin with the truth. His hands know how to hold guns and fists and money and drugs and women who are not my mother and children who are not me. I love my father until I forget his face. This doesn't happen until I break anything that can hold my reflection. And yet he is still reflected in the act of breaking hearts, ribs, flesh, promises, anything really, except silence. Everything I know about love is a lie, or generations of truths I refuse to keep. I dispose of them every time I pray for my children to come. May my descendants never know a love like the one I come from. May their love never be a chore. May they never cry at the thought of their birth. May they be birthed through something other than the force of a man's anger. May they never feel obligated to love the ugly out of someone. May they never feel obligated to love their grandfathers. All right. So I've been thinking a lot about prison abolition, as I'm sure many of us are. And something that keeps coming up in a lot of conversations is like talking about how the work begins at home, and like the ways in which we police ourselves, police our kids, and just like how we replicate those behaviors that are practiced in the world, in our homes and stuff. And so I think Yeah, a lot of, so yes, I'm kind of pulling poems that have been kind of in that line of thought for me. And there may not be a very distinct linking of the poems, and in lieu of like what I just said as well. But I just want to share, like, that's what I've been thinking about, and that's what's been calling me to share these specific poems. And so with that being said, this next poem is titled October 31st, 2017. And just to give it a little more context, I was in a relationship, dude was trash, and he was like, it was Halloween, he saw me for the first time in a couple of years and was like, you know, I'm so sorry that I hurt you, like slap me. I'm like, I hurt you, hurt me back. And I was like, I need to go. So so this is a poem to that moment. Slap me. I'm sorry, slap me, please slap me, he says. Means return the favor. Give me my wounds back, my love. I know my hands to be meager, nourishing parcels will turn bandage if I touch him, slap me. Means I still need you. Let me break you. Do you still have blood for me? See me sacrifice, pull from this vessel my vitality, an embryo. Imagine a child with our faces. How could we have named them anything other than doomed? Slap me. I still want to kiss his lips. What masochists we have ravaged ourselves into, slap me. Imagine him hovering over a small brown diapered child, a carpeted living room, spilled bowls of Cheerios teaching them to slap box. Hands up, protect your face, protect your chest now, slap me. He is more gorgeous than ever, begging me and Father Time to rid ourselves of our principles, to move our hands back. I still manage a moment to love him, see him man, not fully fanged, cut me. I wish to say, hurt me with your hands this time. Pluck my body clean of every strand of hair, wipe me of my skin and flesh, kill me. Like I wish you had, destroy, like you always do, turn me scab, turn me last breath, take my bones for gnawing and skin for cloaking, please, please break me. Wash my blood from your mouth, turn monster for me. Let your fangs grow to drag across my collarbone. I know this to be the only way to honor you, to hurt you. You must convert me corpse. Deliver me to our child, slap me, he says, please, slap me. Finally, I raise my hand in willingness, an exhausted passion, only to watch it spill into the nothing we have still yet to name. Cool. Great. Do I have time for like 2 more things? Am I doing good? Okay. So returning to lineage, another poem. A child blistered into the world through split lip, blackened eye, icy winter, unattended piles of regret, broken skin, cheek bruises, closed fist, open palms, and unanswered pleas. Her name a callus she is still learning to smooth. Her breath an incompetent white flag. When my mother says I have his face, I can't help but wonder if she detests me. If so, how many times has my smile reminded her of his crude tongue? My rage, like this body, an inheritance from both my parents, does not know who it belongs to. On nights when I long to know him beyond the retellings and the freckles on my nose, I imagine her with interlaced palms, interlaced fingers, pressed palms, begging for blood, remorseful for getting me instead. Great. So I wanna do something a little bit different. And I've been kind of diving into essay writing. And so what I wanted to do is share a small piece of an essay I've been working on and share an excerpt of a poem that is in the essay. And then I will get off of the digital mic. Thank y'all so much for having me. I appreciate y'all so much in holding this space and doing this work and continuously doing this work in this time. I know this isn't the first time y'all put the show on and giving to organizations. So thank y'all for doing this and having me be a part of it. So yeah, this essay is titled "Everything I Know About Survival I Learned from a Bald Fist." And if it's trash, y'all, it's trash. And y'all could be honest with me. I don't really write essays yet. I'm diving in. So, you know, if you got feedback, let me know. On March 12th, 2018, a man outside of a cocktail lounge kicked me in my face twice and left me unconscious. The reason being, I confronted him after he threw rocks at me and my sister's car while we were in it after he tried to get at us and we told him no. I spent hours in and out of consciousness. I woke up on my mother's bathroom floor. I heard everyone talking about someone and I knew someone was hurt. I did not realize they were talking about me until I woke up in the waiting room of a hospital. After the x-rays and being given a Percocet for the pain while still moving in and out of consciousness, the nurse who was assisting me said, "Next time this happens, you should just walk away." My chest began to tighten, and had I had enough physical energy, I would have said a lot of unkind and unfiltered things to her. As a patient in her care, I felt reprimanded for something that was not my fault. My response to the man's violence was the wrong thing to do in her eyes. I should have quieted my rage and drove off. The only thing I could respond with was, "I hope there won't be a next time." Although exactly 1 calendar year later there would be, except it would be at a concert and the man would be a security guard. I began to blame myself for everything. So I packed up my rage, buried it deep in my chest and went about life as if nothing happened. I hid that pain from myself until July 22nd, 2018. I woke up that day to see the news that 18-year-old Nia Wilson was stabbed to death by a man at MacArthur BART station. She was doing nothing but riding the train with her sister, and this man didn't like that. He didn't like that she was literally just existing in the world, so he took it upon himself to change that. This was the day I cried about what happened to me. I convulsed, face covered in snot, bloodshot, swollen red eyes, the grief consumed me. I cried for days on end. Every time someone said her name, every time I passed MacArthur BART station, every time I sat down to write, my face became a flood. The heartbreak was unbearable. This was me further understanding that what happened to me and what happened to Nia and what happens to us every day are not isolated incidents. Our safety as Black women, Black girls, and Black femmes is always at risk when a man does not agree with the way we take up space. So I let my rage consume me. And since then, I have cussed out more men than I can count. Every man who grabs me, looks at me, or even breathes in my direction has been cut with my rage. My tongue no longer understands stillness. And if I'm to be killed, then it will not be in silence. Where do Black girls go to be safe? I can only imagine places. I can only create worlds through my imagination. I can only create worlds through my imagination and through my writing where we can be safe because the one we currently occupy has no places of refuge. So this is where the poem goes. And the title of the poem is "All I Could Imagine Was This Forest Because Everything Else I'd Like to Become Has Already Been Touched by a Man." I asked for a separate heaven, a manless sanctuary. I asked for a separate heaven for me and all the women who walk with their headphones in but music off, for the women who always have a hand wrapped around a bottle of pepper spray, for the girls who have been running but can't seem to escape, for the girls who have to decide between taking the long way and walking past a group of men, for the girls For the girls, for 12-year-old me, who is still scared to walk home alone at 3 p.m., who is now being followed to her doorstep, down the street, on the train, right into her nightmares. I asked for a separate heaven, a manless sanctuary, one where we do not have to teach our girls how to scream. But all I could imagine was this forest, because everything else I'd like to become has already been touched by a man. And by touched, I mean destroyed. So when I die, I beg to be given back to the earth, to be camouflaged behind vines, tree bark, and a thick, eerie fog that whispers men are not welcome here alive. And for every man we bring down with us, drag a knife down my bark, cover my trunk in their blood. So if their brothers ever stumble upon this forest, they will know that they are not safe here. And for the man who murders me, who unhinges my body, bathes his hands in my blood and swallows my last breath with ease, he must be brought to this forest, buried alive inside a wooden coffin next to my roots, so he knows what it feels like to be trapped inside the very thing that will kill him. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Tiana. Shit. Thank you so much for sharing all of that with us. And drama update, you do write essays, and I'm so excited. And thank you for giving us all of that. We just got an update. We have raised $568.25. Come through 25 cents for the girls. We are still accepting donations. PayPal Berkeley Slam, Cash App Rich Oak Slam, Venmo. You can hit us up on all of those. We're trying to raise $1,000 in the next 2 days. This has just been a really, really great show, a really great lineup of folks. Remember, you can also give money directly to the performers, to the speakers. They have their own Venmos, they have their own Cash Apps. Some of them have posted them next to their name. If you've already given money to For The Gworls and you want to give more money, please do support these artists and keep doing that good shit. The last speaker coming up, super excited to have them on. I actually read with this last speaker on another reading back when we still went to readings that were in buildings. And I'm super excited to hear them read again. Vernon Keeve III is a Virginia-born writer. He currently lives and teaches in Oakland. His purpose is to teach the next generation the importance of relaying their personal narratives, sharing their experiences, and taking control of their destinies. He holds an MFA from CCA and an MA in teaching literature from Bard College. His full-length collection of poetry, Southern Migrant Mixtape, was published by Nomadic Press in 2018, and he is the recipient of the Penn Oakland Josephine Miles Award. Please put your hands together right now for Vernon.
Yeah, sorry, I was typing all this praise to Tiana. I just had to send it over. Okay, let me read some stuff. I'll try to read some new stuff too. I wrote this poem when I was in Virginia, about like a month or so ago. The honeysuckle all over Virginia is so overwhelming. Bees must flock to this place knowing it was the sepal that gave way to the first petal. Us Virginians took this smell into our own homes, took it into our us Virginians took this smell as our own, took it into our colonial-styled brick homes to hide the funk that builds up when men gather. We tried, but we will never be bees. And we damn sure ain't flowers. I ponder us the caterpillar, fat and gorging, and unwilling to cocoon. And I wrote this one today. I've been watching that show on HBO, I May Destroy You, with Michaela Cole. And it's just been, really, real. I have slept with men who would rip the pages from my books and set them on fire. I have slept with men who were destroying me in their head, fucking their sin into me, begging to feel me raw. I've slept with men who lied when they got home, told their wives that they were digging graves, and me in those moments would have gladly crawled into them, rather than sit in the loneliness of myself beside myself, that hole of broken mirrors. I'll read some other new stuff I've been working on. Pull it up. And these three poems together, I call them Poems for Mamie Till. Mamie said Emmett was more like her brother. My mother looked after him while I worked, she said. This common narrative of how capitalism disrupts Black nuclear families, lower class families, makes Black parents appear neglectful when they cannot show up to meetings at school, makes single parent households seem loveless. Media has always been spreading fake news about Black homes, privacies we were never given, as if our hovels are forever on the outskirts of the big house. He was a breech baby, Mamie said, feet first out of the womb as if to stand for something from the moment he was born. Living to wake up a movement with a nightmare so true you wish it were a lie. When Mamie moved out on her own, out of her mother's home, she recalled how Emmett didn't abide by her like he did his grandmother. And she didn't get much time to be the mother she wanted, to grow out of being his big sister. Emmett gave Mamie his watch before he got on that train, which took him south to Mississippi. It was the last thing he ever gave her. I don't need it where I'm going, Emmett said. I repeat, he gave his mother his watch and said, I don't need it where I'm going. And this is the second poem in this set. There was already blood smeared above the door. Snapped branches sap, dripping down onto the sunken wooden planks, and death still knocked on the door in the dead of night. The door of Moses' right. Demanded more while still drunk with the afterbirth of this nation on his breath. We just want to whip him and turn him loose, Roy Bryant and J.W. Millam said, in the living room of Moses' right and in the dead of night. And those two Black adults, aunt and uncle, knew that they could not protect their nephew Bobo from two white men with a gun in Money, Mississippi. They knew that they had to sacrifice the branch in order to save the bough. And this is the final poem in the set. Mamie said they took her son, Emmett's teeth, like the teeth in George Washington's mouth from his slaves. Are they in that river, the Tallahatchie? Whose mantle might they adorn? Mamie said, my baby had pretty teeth. So who died with them rattling in their skull? Lynching is a word, but what they did to Mamie's son was to show him what the devil is capable of. And for some reason, I have these 3 poems recently wrote about my own mother. I kind of like to pair them. And I call it This Son's Trinity. Right now, I'll call it that. The first one is Mind. My mother told me a story about my great-grandmother, Dorothy Jackson. How she used to fry chicken on Fridays for everyone who lived close to her. For the children of a woman who died during childbirth, leaving 6 saplings in the orchard. That was the best chicken I ever tasted, one of those 6 children, now a tree with many rings, said right after my great aunt Jeanette, Dorothy's daughter, was laid to rest. There is love in preparing food for those who need to remember that there are still mothers in this world. There is life in remembering. Isn't it amazing how there's reincarnation in memory, introducing the gone to those who they will never get to meet as we knew them? How they are showing the generations beyond their own how to find joy in preparing the world, not just for yourself or your own. How virtue is inherited through a process of a brain interacting with the heart beating through time. Like oceans carving shores for new places to watch the sun disappear into the ocean, only to rise behind us hours later. These stories are sand in the hourglass, drifting amongst the waves. This is Body. My mother had a baby fall from her, and it immediately flew into the sky. I thought of it like a Peter Pan story once, until I saw the dried blood on her feet that she refused to wash away. There are no wings in this narrative, unless you count the ones on my mother's back, which she never used, to be with us who couldn't reach the second star to the right. Spirit. My mother calls me every day around 6:30 p.m., 9:30 Eastern Standard Time. I have these scars from wounds cleaned out by hands that belonged to people who loved me. I haven't done much to keep this Black male body alive, aside from staying away from those who'd wish to undo what my mother has done. And I will end with a poem from my book. And I call this Fire Next Time. And this is Notes on June 17th, 2015. And this is when that church outside of Charleston, South Carolina was attacked. Attacks on Black churches are nothing new. I remember in the late 90s when my father started his own journey to becoming a pastor. He was from a rural town where the mouth of the Tappahannock River met the Chesapeake Bay, a peninsula because another river, the Rappahannock, had a mouth that yawned just on the southern side of him. His journey into the clergy took us back to regions where people knew him as a boy, to revivals in the dead of night, in corn and wheat fields. This is the first time I read this poem since my father passed away. In corn and wheat fields, so dark that the church had to be heaven in my adolescent mind. there were a string of arson attacks on Black churches during this time. So I remember sitting in the church afraid of the devil, yes, but afraid he was going to seek his revenge on God through his or her worshipers and seek it then and now. And the choir would be singing, "It was just a shabby old place where we used to sing Amazing Grace. We used to have a good time, oh Lord, talking about a real good time." And I would be sitting in the pew expecting heat and smoke to rise and doors to be barred shut against the screams of the devoted. This is the religion forced upon us when ours was deemed witchcraft, polytheistic, and for the savage. And now the savage burns us during prayer time, but the savage is just misunderstood and lonely with the past of being quiet. They turned 16th Street Baptist Church into a brick oven that roasted 4 little girls beyond the recognition of their parents, beyond the ability to hear choirs sing again. Made the government pass the Church Arson Prevention Act during the Civil Rights Movement. Made Clinton create the National Church Arson Task Force in the 90s. Made this happen after they enslaved us in dogma, then freed us to the demons. Freed us to Black codes, Jim Crow, and Black on Black crime. Now they want to tell us that the demons suffer from themselves, that wolves are not wolves, and we keep singing, "Oh, happy day." We never suffer from ourselves. We create suffering, an uncontrollable remembrance that causes our flesh to forever be guilty of revenge. We just keep singing, "Oh, happy day," hoping we'll sprout wings while the wolves gnaw at our feet. Who needs feet with wings? Who needs to land in heaven? Heaven has no stones. It used to be a shabby old place where we believed in amazing grace. We used to, oh Lord, we used to. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Vernon. Yeah, thank you so much. Please order a copy of Southern Migrant Mixtape from Nomadic Press. Get a copy of that book. Read some more of Vernon's work. We just got another update. So our fundraiser has hit $682.47. Come through 47 cents. Love when there's some cents on there. $732.47. That 47 cents is still kicking it. All right, I love that. Today, with this fundraiser, we've raised $732.47 for the girls. And thank you so much to all of our speakers, to Mila, to Travis, to Tiana, to Vernon. Thank you so much to the folks at Berkeley Slam, Rich Oak Events, and Bay Poets Unite for helping with the organization of this show. Specifically, Arvind, you do the work of like 40 people. Arvind, thank you so much for all the work that you put into this. I want to shout out real quick. Follow the Berkeley Slam on Instagram. They have another event going on tomorrow, Wednesday, July 8th. There is the Berkeley Slam featuring John Moore, another amazing Black performer. They were actually on the last time we did this Greetings from Queer Mountain show. They read. So tomorrow, there's a writing workshop at 7 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, and then the Berkeley Slam show at 8:15 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. So check that out with the Berkeley Slam tomorrow.
Yeah, on that note, I would like to just really quickly shout out the patrons who helped us like to fund some of this, like to pay the poets, Renee Edmonds, Emily Chow, Kalelia, Nakia Williams, Jessica Kozakik, and especially to our two patrons at the $100 tier, Sarah O'Connell and Alice Grimm, one of whom is actually in this Zoom call right now. That money actually specifically goes towards the Alan Bluford Center, all of that, the $100 donation. And anyone who wants to support that can go to patreon.com/richokeevents.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Arvind. Yeah, thank you to all those patrons. It's such a big deal to have folks contributing money to these shows and organizations so that way we can pay performers on a regular basis. And again, I really want to thank Arvind and the folks from the Berkeley Slam for bringing Greetings from Queer Mountain into their fold, and specifically reaching out to me and wanting to get me involved in some of the work that they're doing as well. And it's really cool that we're able to sort of make this coalition of events and shows happen and kind of do these fundraisers as like a two-pronged, three-pronged approach, because that's how we get shit done. So thank you so much for coming to the show. Thank you to everyone that's watching on all the various streams. And I think that's it. Have a good night and be safe and be comfortable when you can and eat some good food. And I think you're all really cool, and I'm really grateful to get to spend this time with you.